Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you had a good week. Happy Saturday. Yeah, we're just gonna jump back in and keep moving on the Puru here. Getting all these scales, all these osteoderms in there. We're just going to keep continuing, with this pattern of, that we've established last weekend. And hopefully we can knock out all of these osteoderms today. And that'll be one huge hurdle that, probably the most complex area on the model as far as the low poly goes. So once we have this done, it's pretty much all downhill from here, I think, in terms of difficulty. Probably add some more detail in there just to get some of the form. We'll probably do that later. I need to just keep going with the pattern. And once we're done with this, then I can worry about the other finer detail stuff. Hey, Digimorph, how's it going? Good to see you. How was your week? I'm gonna move the chat down here because it's easier for me to see. I have a different kind of a different monitor setup now because I've changed my layout for my workspace last week. right after we got done with the stream last week, I pretty much tore apart my whole desk and rearranged everything. So I took that whole day basically to kind of rework how all of my workspace flows, basically. I'm liking it so far. There are some things that are still a tiny bit awkward, so I have my Cintiq monitor kind of tucked away underneath my one of my primary monitors, normal monitors, and it's kind of slightly, it fits kind of just perfectly down there. It's slightly too big. I have to angle the monitor, just like tuck it under, and then when I pull it out in front of me, it's kind of hard to. So that's a little bit awkward. But I don't know, maybe I can get some kind of little riser or something for my monitors to clamp onto back there. Because it's almost perfect. It's almost a perfect fit. It's just I need like maybe like a 1/2 inch of space. But I've actually been able to use my Cintiq in the past week to do some work. It's been really nice. It's kind of I've been kind of Cintiqs are not cheap, and my Cintiq has been definitely underutilized, so I don't know. I feel kind of bad for having a piece of equipment that's like that, that much, and it's not really getting used. So I am definitely trying to get more value out of it. And it's been pretty comfortable too. Like the big issue with me and the Cintiq is that it was very, it was hard to work on it because of the angle that it put my neck and shoulders in. I was kind of like off center, like facing this way, while my other monitors were straight ahead of me. And it created this kind of weird twisting motion. And if you sit that way for too many hours, it definitely starts to take a toll on your body. And it was hurting my neck and my back, so that was the big issue. But I think I resolved that, so that's really nice. So I'm looking forward to starting to use that more. It's definitely kind of weird because the sensitivity of it is much different from like a tablet. So getting used to the feel of it is sort of strange. And then I have to find a solution for my keyboard because I can't. When my monitor is pulled forward so I can draw on it and stuff, the keyboard kind of gets knocked out of place, right? Because I don't have any space in front of me to put it. So it ends up like back into the side. So I have to find a solution. I've been considering a few options. Something small, something that I can customize as far as keys goes, so I can get all my shortcuts and stuff. I think once I find a solution for that, I'll be good. Did you more? I've had some work around the house. Now I can finally rest and watch streams. Awesome. Getting the chores out of the way first thing. It's always nice to like, I mean, Saturday morning is kind of like busy because it's like, for me it's stream, then like chore kind of stuff, but once you get all that done, you have the rest of the day to kind of chill and do whatever. So I look forward to Saturdays a lot. Saturday and Friday. Sunday is like just kind of like, oh no, the weekend's over kind of dreading going back to work type thing. Even though it's not really dread. It's just like, you know, the fun relaxing time is over basically. Oh, 4 p.m. Okay. For some reason, I thought you were in the same time zone as I am. I think like part of me still doesn't realize that people are like everywhere, like in terms of time zones. So I didn't realize it, but I kind of just, I'm starting to enter like a weird, like, because this is so repetitive, a lot of times when this sort of stuff happens, I kind of just zone out and just kind of go. It's not really something that I consciously think of. It's kind of a weird feeling because I just kind of snapped out of it there. All of a sudden I was like done with this whole column of scales, and I didn't really realize it. It's kind of cool when that happens. Means that we have a flow and not like overthinking stuff. So as far as I was talking about my computer, like my little keyboard situation, I was considering, I think there's 3 options I'm considering. Some friends recommended a couple different things. There's like something called a tour box. It's like a little box basically, but it has a bunch of switches and keys and stuff on it. You can like customize all of them. I think people use it a lot for video editing. I'll show a picture. Is this thing? So there's that thing. And then there's like one of my friends recommended the Razer Tartarus, which is like a one-handed keyboard thing. And then there's this thing called the Cyborg, which is pretty crazy looking. Let me see. Let's see if I can find it. It basically, it's like a keyboard, but it's like in the shape of your hand. And like the keys are actually above and below your fingers. This thing. So it has a place for your hand to rest. And then these little white things are all keys. So you have a key above and below, and I think these back parts might be keys also. And then like this little thumb thing. So I think that one would be the hardest to get used to. So those are kind of the options I'm considering for how to deal with my little keyboard issue here. I don't know if any of you have ever used one of those. If you have, let me know, because I'd be interested to hear like what your experience has been with them. These ones here on the side are getting pretty flat. So I don't know if I actually need to worry too much about the inset of the polygon there. I might not deal with that too much. Let's see. This area could probably get simplified, I think. Delete. Dissolve edge. Probably dissolve this edge right here. Okay. These guys here got a lot more detail. They got like 2 rows of... I need this sort of structure here in these ones so I can get some additional stuff, but I don't know if I want to carry the band, you know, across the back here like that. I could... Hey, David. How's it going? I kind of like this solution here because it gives me an additional point like this. So if I do that on both ends, I end up getting 3 points of detail, I guess you can say, on here, which would help describe this curve. And it wouldn't introduce like a whole new loop of polys to the mesh. So I could do something like that. This. So I get a another vertice there, and then I could do that here, get another vertice there. I get the triangles though, but that kind of doesn't matter in that area because it's not going to be super mobile. And it would only be on these more complex ones, not on the, I wouldn't need them on most of these side guys here. Whatever. How fast would you complete the model with everything if you were to work every day on it? So we have been, let's see, like if you were to condense all the time that we've done so far on the model, this is stream number 34. We work on it about 2 hours. 2 hours every stream. So far we have 68 hours. So usually like a work week is like, if I were to work on it like a normal job, like 8 hours a day, right? You have 40 hours a week. So we're a little under 2 weeks right now. And that's like, I would say it's actually less because if I wouldn't be like talking, right? Like you have to take out some time for like me explaining stuff, me like interacting with people, trying to carry a conversation, stuff like that. So if you take out that time, I think it's probably a little less than 68 hours. I'm still mostly working, so I would say it's, I don't know, maybe you can take a few hours off of that if you were to really think about it, but you know. I would say it would be around the 2 week mark. 2 to 2.5 weeks to complete a model like this from like start to finish. It would be my estimate. I hope that answers your question. David, thank you. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoy the game when it comes out. Or maybe you've had a chance to test stuff and things like that. I don't know if you have. Yeah, we're doing our best to give you guys some really cool content here. Would it still be enjoyable to work for 6 to 8 hours per day on a model? Yeah. Yeah, it would be perfectly fine, you know, like, I do that. So I don't know if you guys know, but I work full time as an illustrator, actually, not as a 3D modeler. I work a lot on like, trading cards, trading card games, stuff like that. So my whole day, every day is drawing and painting stuff. It's actually completely not related to dinosaurs. I mean, here and there I might get to paint like a dragon or like, you know, something dinosaur-ish, but it's actually nothing. There's really nothing related to dinosaurs in my everyday job. But I do paint, you know, I paint and draw for 8 hours every day during the week. So it's still fun. I mean, there are, I would say like, you know, it is a job. So there are times when you're not really feeling the most creative, right? But you still have to go to work and still do your job. Those are the times where it is a little bit difficult. But once you get once you just start working and get into some sort of task, that kind of goes away. So it is pretty fun. Like I'm definitely not going to complain. You know, I get to go to work and I get to draw and paint orcs and goblins and who knows what, you know, every day. Something different every day, basically. I get to support myself and my family off of that, so definitely not going to complain. But yeah, I think it would be awesome, you know, if I had the chance to just sculpt dinosaurs all day, every day. I would not turn down that opportunity at all. I kind of get to do that, you know, like I have this project, I have some other projects that are going where I get to draw, you know, sculpt dinosaurs on a fairly regular basis. So I think I'm happier now. I've kind of simplified this area here, which is nice. I still have to follow through on these loops, but they're fairly easy because I could just carry them around. I'll get more detail around the torso. I'm not sure if I need it. But I guess it couldn't hurt. Depends on the poly count. The budget, but I don't think I'm breaking it. I don't think I'm breaking the budget at all. I'm pretty well within it. We'll see. We'll see how we terminate those side panels there. Let's start jumping into this tail. It's gonna be mostly the same. Like, let's see, what do we got to do here? These can probably get merged. Merge it at last. Well, I'll leave it there for just a second because I want to maintain a little bit of a mark for myself where all this stuff is going to happen. I do think I need a cut here so we can come down this. Probably go to about here. We'll figure out how to terminate that. And then this, do we need a cut here? No. I think that would be fine. So we just move these to the center. So what I want is like two boxes side by side here with a center line that corresponds to that high point. And then here, see how weird it gets? Like, This needs to stop right here somewhere. I think. Yeah. No. We might need another cut. It depends on how high these are. Because I was thinking that this edge was going to be like this side edge here, but it's different. Let's see if I'm accommodating things correctly. I think so. I think this is going to be fine. This is where I'm planning to, I'm going to attempt to like merge some of these cuts, some of these loops. I don't know how well that's going to go, but we will try. Okay. So we're just gonna do the same thing. I think we're gonna get these, inset them. This guy is kind of weird. This one right here. This one's even more weird because I did like a weird cut or like an inset here to get some extra detail, but I think it's probably going to work better a different way. So I think I'll have to restructure this. But we'll focus on this part. Yeah, see, like, I may need a loop going across this. Because it's not grabbing the height there, you know? And if I try to move, if I move this, let me see if I... Nah. Let's see. Need something like that. That's better, but we still need more probably. Yeah, we'll need a little bit more. Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll start progressing down the back here. These guys, let's see. These guys don't need as much height. It starts to get pretty simple now. These. David, is he bigger than Deinosuchus? I don't know. It's hard to say because, well, we do have a decent amount of the body for Puru. But I don't think they have very much of like the tail. It's hard to say the exact length, and like mass wise, I'm not sure. I think they might be pretty similar in terms of length, but like maybe Dino was a little bit heavier built than Puru. I don't know. They're pretty similar. And I'm not just visually, I mean, I don't know if I'm familiar enough with the data to be saying like whether they are one's bigger or smaller than the other. I think there is a size comparison image somewhere. Where is the size comparison? I'm just pulling this off Wikipedia. I'm not really sure what the sources for this are. So, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But yeah, you can take a look. Looks like they're almost the same. And actually, I think in this, it makes it look like Purussaurus is a little bit more robust. But who knows? Whatever. If you have a different source, let us know. That's what I'm seeing. There's also this one. This one doesn't have Dino on here though. And then here's the thing though, I don't want to get into this like competition of like who's the biggest and so on and so on. Because people do that with like T-Rex and Carcharodontosaurus and Spino all the time. And like it's not really, there's really no point. Like they're different animals. They live in different places. They're adapted to their specific lifestyle. Nature designs the animal to serve the purpose that it's supposed to serve. So however big it ends up being or however massive it ends up being, that's just what it had to be to live. So I don't really see it as like a contest. David, you love Tyrannosaurus? Yeah, Tyrannosaurs are really cool. I personally am a fan of, I guess I'm more of a fan of like Allosaurs, Carcharodontosaurids. I really like Megaraptors, and those are kind of related to each other. I just like the way they look. They look very, especially the shape of their skulls. They're kind of swept back, kind of look. They look very streamlined. But yeah, you can't really deny that Tyrannosaurus is a very impressive animal. Yeah, David. So one of my favorite animals is it's a species called Australopithecus. It's one of my favorites because it's actually one of the first dinosaurs that I tried to reconstruct like really seriously. I did this like a long time ago. You can see it's 11 years old right now. I actually need to update this. Like, I really want to update this guy. But like the face shape has always been really cool to me. So I have a soft spot for Megaraptors. I'm hoping to redo that guy soon, because it would be cool to revisit some of my old work and kind of update it with what I know now and like the more recent discoveries and stuff like that. Because there has been actually a lot more. Megaraptors have changed since I did that reconstruction. And then like the whole, like my whole thoughts on how I go about sculpting and the way that I would do it is just different now. So I want to see how it would look if I redid some of that. So one of the coolest things about the Megaraptors is, of course, the claws. I did this reconstruction of this is the forelimb of Australopithecus. So you can see like what all these orange elements are actually the fossil. So we know that this is what it looked like, and they're fossils, but they're from the other side, so they're preserved from the other arm. And then these red parts are what are reconstructed. So I was looking at lots of related species to try and get the size and shape of the bone here. But of course, like, these claws look really incredible. And then they're so big. On top of that, they would have had the keratin sheath on top, which would have made them even longer and sharper. So it's a really, really cool pair of arms here. But yeah, I learned to appreciate them a lot. I actually don't know if we have any. I don't think we have any Megaraptors on the roster for the game. Thanks, David. Thanks. I don't know if I do still need to figure these guys out. That's looking pretty cool. It's a little overwhelming to look at it from this view. It's like, I think if I would see that without knowing like the process that went into making it, I would feel like that was kind of nuts. Let's see where we go from here, because these guys, maybe I can carry. I actually don't know if I need this. I could maybe merge some of these. Still gotta make sure these guys are fitted. These need a little bit more resolution. I meant to come back to these, so now that we're here, might as well address some of this so we can get a better shape into these scoots here, these longer ones that are on the tail. Yeah. Yeah, just I got kind of lost in there again. But yeah, I'm just going in and trying to capture these fin shapes better. So I'm kind of focusing on if the curvature of the shape is being represented properly. I do need more info here. And I'm brainstorming ways that I can get more detail in here. Again, I'm being very like stingy with the cuts that I'm making. Like I want to make sure that I'm only adding cuts where I absolutely need to add them. So I'm kind of plotting out where I could cut and where I can't, and like where I could possibly optimize. There's a lot of like calculation, I guess, going on in my head when I'm working on stuff like this. A lot of the times, like if I were just like working on this for myself, I'm trying to keep things like moving and like doing stuff, because people are watching me basically. But it, honestly, like if this were just me working, I would probably be staring at this for a long time. Like I would kind of do a move, take a look. I would be doing a lot of looking, like moving the model around, like just contemplating, like where can I make a cut that can be impactful on the form, but doesn't eat into my budget more than I need to. I'm kind of, some people might say that if they're, watching my process and stuff, some people might say that I'm being a little bit too stingy. Some people might say that I'm not being stingy enough. Like, I don't know. It depends on the person. But I feel like I'm trying to do my best to give thought to how to best represent these shapes without going like super crazy. Because you could go and just like make all kinds of cuts and make all kinds of vertices and then fully represent all of this, but then like you risk eating into some of your poly count. And I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can to optimize stuff. But I do think eventually, most likely, I will need to do, because if I did like a cut like this, just one cut along the length down there, I think it would be beneficial, because then I could get, it does two things. I get this extra vertice here, which helps represent this point on the osteoderm here. And then I get an extra set of points here, so I can represent this. This better. Something like that. So that may be what I end up doing. But you can see if I do that to every section, this tail essentially becomes double the vertices that it was before. I mean, double the faces, because I'm cutting each face in half. Or it might actually be quadruple. I don't know. It makes it more. Nakarkos. Nakarkos. Is that a Monster Hunter reference by chance? But what do you think of Roblox Studio 3D modeling? Roblox Studio 3D modeling. I actually am not familiar with that. I don't really know what Roblox Studio 3D modeling is. Roblox Studio 3D model. Is that like a program? So I thought Roblox was like a game. Yeah, I don't know. Can you explain what that is a little bit more? I have not heard about it, so I'm not familiar. I wouldn't be able to give you any like thoughts on it really. It's a game similar to Path of Titans where you survive and grow your dinosaur, or like Ark. Okay. But it's like in terms of like models, right? Are they like? Is it like Minecraft where they're like super blocky? Because I think I've seen like I've seen Roblox. People say it's Roblox. I've seen Roblox game visuals that are like very blocky, like boxy models, and then I've seen Roblox stuff that looks pretty realistic. So I don't know. It's kind of confusing. Like, what is? Maybe it's just that flexible. Like, you can put any kind of model in there you want. It's just about the game engine itself or whatever. Like, is it like a lot of people make mods for it, or like you can customize your own game inside of the game? Is that what it's like? It's like blocky, but a bit more advanced than usual. Okay. I think I know some people who are working on another like prehistoric game for Roblox, or they were using like the Roblox as like a base or something, but it was like it was mammals. It was like prehistoric mammals. Can't remember what the name of it is though. But you like play as the animal. Okay. Cool. So do you work on models like that for Roblox, or um you just interested in that game in particular? Cool. Yeah, it's I haven't looked into it a lot. It seems interesting. Maybe I should take a look and see how. Maybe there's a game or game mode in there that I would enjoy, but haven't had a chance. Gigantopithecus. I'm actually not sure if they've considered like megafauna, like mammalian megafauna in this game. Okay. So those are fitting better. Still more to do on there, but they're fitting better. Let's see. Who knows, maybe that's something that they're thinking about later on down the line, but I don't know anything about it. I have to say I'm definitely more interested in the scaly guys than the mega mammals. I've always been biased. I'm sorry. When did I start learning about 3D models? It's been well over 10 years, I think. I mean, I've been sculpting stuff since I was in high school. Like I started with clay. And then once I got into college, I took this course called Illustration Media. And in Illustration Media, we learned about 3D illustration, which is pretty cool if you've ever taken a look at it. 3D. There are not many people that do it, but there are some really good 3D illustrators. It's kind of strange just to say it that way, but it is a thing. And because of that, I started to sculpt. I sculpted this dinosaur maquette out of Sculpey. And I really enjoyed the process, and yeah, it just was an interesting workflow, and I really liked the whole thing. So I stayed interested in sculpting, and then once I became aware of like 3D printing, I really wanted to try it, and I had this idea for my grad show. I had an idea for how I could incorporate some 3D sculpting and modeling. So I learned how to use ZBrush at that time. But yeah, it's been over 10 years. I started learning ZBrush in 2012. And it took me, I don't know, I would say I had to rush it. So it took me like a couple weeks to learn. And then I had to like scramble to get my 3D model done in time for my grad show. So that was fun. I was completely like stressing myself out over that stuff. Not the best plan, I will admit. You shouldn't wait till the last few weeks of your graduation, your grad semester, to decide to learn a new program and learn how to 3D print. You're just asking for a lot of trouble at that point. This does not look nice. I have to figure that out. But in terms of like for video games specifically, like I learned how to 3D sculpt, and I was basically like focused on 3D printing. Like 3D printing and prototyping was my thing for a while. And that's how I got involved with like Beasts of the Mesozoic and doing all of the action figure stuff for them. Then, I became involved with, actually, I didn't become involved with any projects, but like me and my friend and I had this idea for a video game project that we wanted to do. And we both knew 3D. I actually taught him how to use ZBrush and Blender, the basics of Blender. He's taught himself a lot more since then. But we both knew how to 3D sculpt, but we didn't know how to like do all of the additional stuff, like all the texturing, all the retopology, like all of the other stuff that goes into making a model ready for games. So it was like 2017, 2016, that around there, where we started to learn how to do all of this stuff, like the stuff you're seeing me do now, like the retopology, the UVs, all that kind of stuff. That was like 2017. That was probably one of the hardest periods, I think, in like my creative learning, I think. There's just so much that goes into this stuff. So many steps, and they're like layered steps. So one step affects the other. So if you screw up one step, sometimes it means that you have to go back like several steps to like fix something, and then you can start moving forward again. So it can be very like it can be very frustrating. Like there's times when I felt like I was learning a lot and I was going really well, and then all of a sudden like something would go wrong. Like, you know, I don't know, like a there was like UV seams on my model, and like I didn't know why. And then I had to like go back through the chain of steps and figure out, okay, well, you're seeing seams because of this reason. So I had to go back, fix it, come back forward. It's like a lot of back and forth, and it can be kind of frustrating. It still happens. Like, I will say, like, you'll probably see it happen when, as we're working on this, like UV, like as far as the process goes, when it comes to like the baking process, I find like that whole the UVs, exporting the model, baking the textures, like if you're going to run into any problems, that's probably where you're going to run into it. Like there's something going to go wrong. Like you're going to forget to unwrap something properly. Like there's like an overlap in the UVs somewhere that you didn't catch. You forgot to export the model with smooth normals or something, you know, something kind of dumb, you know, but it'll be there. It'll be a mistake and you'll have to undo it. I think this is probably the most complicated section of the creative process in terms of getting stuff ready for either rendering or into the game itself. This is probably the hardest part. The start of the hardest part. How OP will Purussaurus be in game? You know, I have no idea. I don't really know what they're planning for, like the abilities as far, or like stats as far as Puru goes. So I don't really know. I don't really know what he's gonna be like in the game. I am just taking care of like what he looks like. That's my job. Bims. Hi Bims, how's it going? Been lurking a little bit. Speaking of 3D printing, I am at the moment 3D printing something. Oh, cool. What are you printing? And like, what are you printing with? I personally, I use, I'm a resin printer. So I have all the resin stuff going on in I have two printers. One is an Anycubic Photon Mono, and the other one is Elegoo Saturn. They're both resin printers. I actually have an Elegoo Mars too. It's my tiny little printer. That's the printer that I started with, and it's actually it still works really well. It's old printer too. That's what I use primarily. I haven't really done filament printing. But those prints are getting really good. I've been seeing lots of people using like filament printers, and the quality you can get from those is really amazing right now. One of the reasons why I didn't go into exploring filament 3D printing at the time is because there was just too much stair stepping, and I really wanted really high fidelity detail. So that's why I use resin. I still think if you're trying to go for really, really high detail, really smooth stuff, you probably want to use a resin printer, but the filament printers are getting really, really good. Like super, super good. And there's still some advantages to using the filament 3D printers. I think resin's really great for detail, but it's very fragile. If you want something that's actually going to like hold up and like Like if you were printing an action figure and you knew it was going to get a lot of abuse, you're probably better off printing in a plastic from a filament printer than a resin printer. By the way, I love prehistoric crocs and lizards, so it's really cool seeing you make Peru. Thank you. Nakarkos, what's the hardest model you've made? Or like one that took a really long time? Hardest model I've made. Oh, there's a really difficult model that I made recently. Like, I don't know. Well, few months ago at this point. I can't really talk about it because the game that it's for isn't out yet. So I can't really say. But I wonder if I can talk about it in vague terms. It was like a reptile, we'll say that. It's like a big dragon. And there was a lot of stuff, like lots of scales, lots of like the wing membranes were crazy. They had like fins. It had all kinds of stuff. And the texture was pretty complicated. It had like lots of effects to it. So like there was like glowing parts. It had like transparent parts. All kinds of stuff. So that was the hardest. And like the topology on it was crazy too. Like there were lots of just complicated forms that I had never dealt with before. Like fingers transforming into membranes that also had spikes on them. Stuff like that. By far the most difficult model I've done. I hope I get to share it. I'm kind of worried about sharing it, to be honest. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the project works out. It was really cool. I mean, I don't get me wrong, like it was a pain. But I am really, really proud of how it turned out. And I really like the design of it. Like that's the thing too, is like I got to design it. So I did all the concepts for it. And then I got to do the model. And then I got to do the textures on top of that. So I got to do the whole process. So it was really cool. It was a cool opportunity. There's not a lot, like in the industry, it depends on who you're working for. But like if you're working for a bigger company, it's kind of rare that you are allowed to do like to follow the whole process like that. A lot of the times you're only doing like a section. So you're doing the concept, you hand the concept off to a modeler, they do the modeling, etc., etc. Being able to go through the whole process and like take care of everything, and being able to say like, you know, I made this entire model, that was really cool from start to finish. So yeah, I hope I get to share. I was actually able to do that for a couple of models on that project, to do it from complete start to finish. So that was cool. How much percent done is this model? I would say we're at like 60%. 65%, I would say. I'm probably being a little bit conservative there, but that's what I would estimate. No, not 80% done. No, we still have a good amount. We have the rest of the topology to go. We have to lay out the UVs. There's a couple different UVs to lay out, UV layouts for each model, and then we got to actually texture the guy. And then there's a couple other things to be done after that, like the growth stages. We got to do the growth stages. So yeah, not quite done. It's a lot, guys. Like, it takes. There's a lot that goes into this stuff. That's why, I mean, I'm glad that you guys are here to kind of see it happening. So I think, there's a lot of in the industries now. There's a lot of like people seeing games come out, and they're like, they're talking about how it takes so long for games to come out, and it can take a long time for sure. But one of the reasons why is this type of stuff. Like, you think about these games that are like huge projects, like huge open world projects. All of those models that go into it, especially if they're like character models, have to go through the process like this, and sometimes even more, because I'm just making a crocodile basically, right? Imagine if you imagine like a character like some of those AAA projects have, where they have all the crazy armor and all the accessories, and not only do they have one set of armor, they have like 10 sets of armor. And not only do they have 10 sets of armor, but you can like interchange all of the sets, and you got to make sure that it all looks good together. It doesn't overlap all weird. And like all of those have their own meshes and their own textures, and like, it gets crazy. So you can easily be looking at like months and months of work for just one model. BIMs. Haven't kept it up to date with the roster consists of. So if you can inform us, will Purussaurus be the only big croc-like creature in the Echoes of Extinction, or will there be more like Sarko and Zuko? I'm not sure. As far as I know right now, this is the only croc. If there are more crocs, then that would be like a consideration that I would have to take into account, maybe. because if there are more crocs, then this mesh could be potentially utilized for some of those. Like there could be like, we could have done like a croc base mesh that could help the process go faster for the rest of the crocodile models. So if that's the case, then I think I would be more aware of what that lineup would look like. But as far as I know, this is the only one. Sharky, how's it going? Hello, hello. Okay. I'm kind of starting to eyeball this here. Trying to figure out how I'm going to handle that part. It is very weird. Oh, stop. There we go. Ah, field trip. Where'd you go, if you don't mind me asking? Sounds like an interesting... I'm not sure if we did many field trips when I was in college. I'm trying to think of... There was one that was pretty cool. For my human... It was like a figure drawing class. We were studying human anatomy. And we went to... we actually went to a cadaver lab. And we were studying all of the different... we got to see all the muscles and stuff of the human body. Different sections. It was pretty cool. It was definitely not for everyone, you know. Some people did not do well. But I was fine, I think. There were a couple, like, I don't know if you would consider them field trips. It's kind of weird because we did go to like the zoo and like museums and stuff to like draw and paint and study, but I don't know if I would consider them. I kind of associate a field trip as like the university or like the school is taking you someplace. And the school never took me places. I always had to drive there and meet up with the class. So if I'm driving myself there, I don't consider it a field trip. But maybe that's just my that's my public school experience talking there, I guess. That's what I think of when I think of field trips, like jumping onto a bus and heading off to someplace. Ah, geologist. Yeah, there were a couple pretty cool ones. So I had a landscape painting class and that was really fun. There were like a lot of really amazing, there's a lot of really cool places in Colorado to go to for landscape painting. So we got to go up into the mountains and do a lot of really nice Well, some people got really nice landscape paintings. I did okay. I would not consider myself the best landscape painter there is, but I learned a lot. The human anatomy courses were really cool. There was an animal anatomy class that I missed out on, but they would basically go to the zoo every week to study the animals there, and that seemed like really fun. I could not for the life of me get scheduled for that class though. I have no idea why. It would just not be available, or like it would already be full by the time I went there. It was a really popular class, especially for the illustrators. What else was there? I mean, lots of trips to museums, art museums. Museum of Nature and Science was a popular one. It's a really good one in Denver. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of dinosaurs in Denver. There's a few different museums dedicated to dinos, which is nice. Yeah, but studying geology sounds really cool. It seems like being able to read the landscape and like understand what happened to it over time is pretty awesome. I bet you really look at the world differently if you learn about that stuff. It's kind of like, I don't know. There are certain times when learning about art and learning about light and the way it works and how your eyes perceive light, there's certain moments where it really changed the way I look at the world, I guess. The way I perceive stuff. So I always wonder how other people in other disciplines kind of how their worldview changes when they learn about certain things in their field, you know? Because, you know, like if I were a musician, I'm sure like if I heard a song come out on the radio, you know, I might automatically start like analyzing the structure of the song, or like maybe there's a note that caught my interest because it was unexpected, or like, you know, stuff like that. Little stuff that kind of people don't really, maybe like people who don't study that field kind of take for granted, but you notice because, you know, you obviously are interested in it. So what are Sharky, what are you studying geology for? Like, is there a specific job that you want, like specific like career that you want to have? What are you hoping to be once you're done with university? Tifa. No. Sorry. My puppy, she's ripping into one of her toys and she has like all of the fluff spread all over my room. So I'm going to have some cleanup to do. Stay with me for a second. She's ruining her toys, all of her toys. I think I want to be able to tell if a certain ground is good for building a house or not, or a structure. Okay. Geological engineering. Okay. Yeah, that seems like a pretty valuable skill. Not a lot of people can do that. Pretty sought out, I would imagine, because lots of new developments would require that to be looked at. I'm sure there's lots of codes and stuff regarding that, like what kind of structures can be built where, on what type of ground. Seems like a pretty valuable space to occupy. Downsides of having a puppy. Yeah. I'm thinking of getting her some toys because she does like to rip into stuff. Like that's just what she does. There are some toys that have like, they're like made specifically for dogs to pull stuff out of. So like they have like nested little toys inside the toy that they can pull out. So I'm thinking of getting her some stuff like that, and hopefully that helps. Because at this point, yeah, she's just making a mess of everything. There was so we had like a pillow for her and the rest of the dogs to lay down on. I have like two or three different spots where they can lay down in my office here. But the pillow was like, I didn't know, but it was full of like goose feathers or like some kind of feather. And she ripped into it. And when I went around to check on her, there was just a bunch of feathers all over the place. So that was fun to pick up. Yeah, she can be a little terror. I expect it though. I've had little puppies before, and they go through those phases where they just want to chew on everything and tear up everything, and usually they grow out of it. She's she's a Chihuahua Dachshund mix. I think Dachshunds at least are meant to be they're meant to like root out like rodents and stuff in like that's one of the reasons why they're so like squat and long. I think they're supposed to like run down whole burrows and things like that and find whatever's in there. She definitely she likes to chase stuff, so she definitely wants to chase things. She likes to dig. Yeah, she does all of the mischievous stuff. I can't relate to that. I only have a turtle. Yeah, I kind of always wanted a turtle. I always wanted some kind of reptile as a pet. I don't know. I don't know if I would be a good reptile parent though. It seems like they require a lot of attention to their like habitat, like humidity levels, stuff like that. I don't know if I would be good at that. So it's probably better that I don't. Okay. Well, that's a lot of stuff going on right there in the back. So I think, so there are areas, I like the way this is going right here in this zone. Like I said, we can get some more detail in certain areas. This area I think needs to be made more consistent with what's going on over here. So I will need to do that. I like this. This is going okay. The transition here needs to be taken care of. And then we got a transition like this area here. I don't like these two spots, so I need to take care of that. But it's coming together. We got the loose ends to tie up, right? So figuring out how all of that is going to resolve is always a thing. But if you remember how it was a couple weeks ago, there was none of this existed. Like none of that was there. And now we have, a back of osteoderms and all of this stuff happening. And we can actually, so that's what I want. Like, you see that right there? How, let me put this on solo. Let me see. How the silhouette is changing in the low poly. You can actually see the surface become spiky. That's what we want. Because the textures are just not going to carry the mesh surface detail by themselves. So we have to incorporate all of this stuff in there. But that's looking pretty cool. Still more to do, of course, but getting there. Depends. To be honest, some reptiles are easy to take care of. You definitely need to keep an eye on water and cleanliness. Yeah. It's pretty dense. It's a pretty dense mesh, by the way, especially compared to the last week. Yeah. It is, but I think we're still under budget. I think we still have about half the budget to go. if I were to move my face out of the way. You can see the poly count here at the top. So I think we're still pretty good. I don't want to push it any more than I have to, of course, but I think we're going to be okay. And if there's any areas that I would want to spend a budget on, it would be these areas here, you know. Okay, let's see. Is there anything I want to do before we wrap up today? I don't think I can start anything new. I kind of wanted to get to these parts, like on the leg. Where are they? Right here. These like spiky areas. But I think I'll have to save that for another time because I don't know if I'll be able to get. I'm not going to get anywhere with that today. We have like 8 minutes. So I think that's probably where we'll stop. I was hoping to get through all of this. I mean, we got through most of it, but looks like we'll spend some time doing these arm sections and the leg section later. But that's after those two sections, and we just like finish up whatever resolutions we need to with the way these edges like terminate and stuff. That's pretty much it. And then we can start moving on to the UVs. I mean, we already have some seams established here. It's not going to really change too much. I think that's primarily the seams that we have and we will stick with. Because if I were to go to the UVs, if I were to unwrap it right now, those are what the islands look like. That's decent. It's not bad. Actually works out pretty well. So I think the UVs are going to be pretty quick to deal with. It's one of the reasons why I mapped out while we're doing the topology, I'm thinking about the UVs and how they're going to flow. So that's one of the reasons why I make the seams where I made them. So that way later on down the line, the UVs work out much faster. This seam here will probably get ruined because that's where we have to build out those features. So I'll probably have to redo that a little bit. And then again right here. But for the most part, this is looking pretty good. And then we can start prepping for texture. So we actually get this into Substance Painter and do the texture work. I'm working on the Tyrannosaurus. So if you guys want to see some of like how the texture work goes, I'm working on the Urano right now on Wednesdays. So that's kind of what we'll be moving into with the Puru next. Yeah. Let's see. Other than that, I don't really have any other like stuff going on. We still plan on Wednesday for another stream. Tyrannosaurus probably. And then next Saturday we'll keep going with the Puru, trying to finish up the topology. And I think that's it. So yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. Thanks for chatting. Hope to see you guys during the week or maybe next weekend. Thanks, Sharky. Yeah, I'll see you Wednesday if you have time. See you guys. Have a good weekend.